The best battle rifles in the world. That's what we're going to talk about today on Gunfighter Life. Hopefully that intrigues you, so stay tuned. To the podcast where we talk about guns, gunfighting tactics, ballistics, the right way with Almighty God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. I am blessed to serve you as host, U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran, also law enforcement veteran, L.A.P.D, private security contracting, competition shooter, prior commander of a tactical team to stop active shooters in a large metropolitan area, and a bunch of other stuff that's probably germane to today's topic of the best battle rifles on the market today. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and fingers for battle. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm talking about guns available today in the year of our Lord, 2025. I'm going to start out, I'm not usually one to bury the lead, but what I think is still the best for all-around battle rifle. And I guess before I do that, I should define terms. Battle rifle, a major caliber. Stop with the newspeak and shying away from terms. An assault rifle is an intermediate fighting rifle with an intermediate cartridge. 5.56, 7.62x39, 300 blackout. Intermediate. I have no problem with the word assault. I was an assaultman, infantryman in the Marine Corps. Sometimes things need to get assaulted. Sometimes people need to get assaulted. Sometimes machine gun bunkers, whole cities need to be assaulted. Sometimes that's a prescription. Sometimes an assault rifle is the right answer, but sometimes a proper battle rifle, I'm going to define that as a proper full-powered rifle cartridge in the 308 family. It doesn't have to be a 308, but most of these are going to be. A proper full-powered rifle cartridge in a fighting rifle, semi-automatic, shoulder-fired, arm that you would or could use in battle, a battle rifle. Okay, with that, the number one, and you can still get in the year of our Lord 2025 right now, the SCAR Heavy, the SCAR 17. I know they're discontinuing it. That doesn't make it a bad gun. They discontinued the Smith & Wesson mountain gun. They're bringing it back because it's a good gun. For a long time, people stopped chambering stuff largely in .35 Whelen. They're starting to pick up again. That didn't mean that .35 Whelen wasn't a good caliber. It's because they stopped using it or stopped making it. Anyway, with that, the SCAR 17, the SCAR Heavy, it is battle proven, it is rugged, it is reliable. Here's one of the big things that puts it over the top. It weighs 7.7 pounds. It's not some obese abomination. Not a morbidly obese gun. You get 7.7 pounds. It comes with iron sights. That's the weight with the iron sights. Put a good fighting style optic on it. And it's maneuverable, it's manageable, it's a manageable weight. In the weight range of an M16A4. It's a decent shoulder-fired weapon. It's not some ridiculous thing that's meant to be shot off a bench or off your belly, but in a dynamic shooting situation, it's a good weight. It's got an AK-style-ish operating system, a big, massive piston and bolt system. If you look at the bolt of a SCAR 17, a big chunk of that 7.7 pounds is in the bolt, which I like. It's got a lot of mass moving back and forth, which adds to reliability. It's a crazy reliable rifle. I know, but it has a reciprocating charging handle. Yeah, okay, so does the AK-47. So does the M1 Garand. So does the SKS. So does the M14/M1A. They all have reciprocating charging handles. Who cares? Not regurgitating stuff you heard somewhere one time that somebody said because the only thing they ever shot was an AR-15 that you couldn't have a reciprocating charging handle. Does anybody accuse AK-47s or M14s of being non-effective because they have a reciprocating charging handle? It's ridiculous. And if you care about that, they do make models that don't have a reciprocating charging handle. I have a SCAR 17. I've had one for quite a while. I use it as the commander of a tactical team in real-world scenarios. It's a phenomenal weapon. My sample size of one, mine is ridiculously accurate to the fact that if it was a bolt gun, a heavy-barreled bolt gun, I would be happy with the accuracy. It's ridiculously accurate. Even with off-the-shelf factory ammo, it's ridiculously accurate. It's ridiculously reliable. It's a manageable weight. It's battle-proven. It's been blooded, if you want to put it that way. It's a phenomenal firearm. It's still available. And if they stop making it, I think SCAR 17s are expensive now. Wait till they stop making them and people still want them because they're awesome guns. So I still think that that's the best one for now, the SCAR-17. It's .308. They do make them in 6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5 Creedmoor, whether you like it or hate it, it's still a full-powered rifle cartridge. Right? If you hate the 6.5 Creedmoor, think of it as a modern 6.5x55 Swede. Anything that it will do, the 6.5 Creedmoor will do. They make it in 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a phenomenal cartridge. You probably want it in .308. .308 still currently on the market, the most versatile round as far as fighting rifles and hunting across the board, the duality of survival, defending yourself, putting meat on the table. The SCAR-17, it's phenomenal. It's expensive, but I think it's worth it. The next one I'm going to put in the second place slot, maybe controversial, but it's maybe the cheapest one on the list and maybe the second best. I've owned one of these. I sold it. Not because it was a bad gun, just because I got it to review for you guys, and I have a SCAR-17. But it's a phenomenal gun. It is the Ruger SFAR, short-framed AR, I think is what it stands for. Picture if a AR-10 and an AR-15 got shaken up in a bag, and you got all the parts that would allow it to shoot a full-powered rifle cartridge like .308, but kept a similar weight to an AR-15. That is the Ruger SFAR. You'd have to look, but a lot of the parts are changeable with an AR-15. That's a big bonus right there. So not only is it good and affordable off the bat, but it is going to be fairly customizable and accessorizable. Easy to accessorize is probably a better way to articulate that sentence, because it has a lot of parts commonality with an AR-15. They make a few different models, but their base model, I'm going to call it that, 16-inch barrel, .308, model number 5610. MSRP of $1,329 as the time of this recording, and you can probably find them for cheaper. I don't think I paid that for mine. That was when they were newer. Here's one of the kickers. Weight, 6.8 pounds. It's almost a pound lighter than the SCAR-17. Whew. It's got a nitrided barrel, which it's not a cold hammer forged chrome line like the SCAR-17 has. I'll grant you that, but nitride is a close second. A very good finish, in some ways superior. It's not bluing, right? It might look like bluing. It's not bluing. It's a completely different thing. It's very hard. It's very good in harsh conditions. Nitride is legit. The people that crapped on nitride when it came out but picked on the Bushmaster rifle that came out because it wasn't cold hammer forged chrome line. It was nitrided. I think time has proven out that nitride is a legit finish, and I have no problems with a nitrided gun. Slick, also helps with reliability. 1 in 10 twist right hand. It's got an adjustable length of pull. Comes with some M-LOK Magpul furniture, which is a good deal right out of the box, because if it didn't have that, you'd probably want to put it on there. They make some other models. They make a 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor, which is the one that I got. It was still a manageable weight. Phenomenal gun. Decent accuracy. Not as accurate as my SCAR-17, but that may just be sample size. It was a decently accurate gun. It would have been fairly accurate for a bolt gun 15 years ago. This was me shooting a variety of factory loads. I didn't hand load for it. The one downside to me is it craps where it eats. Now, this is not a go or no-go. Direct impingement, I know it's technically a piston, but everybody calls it direct impingement. It's not the worst system ever, and nitride does help. It's better than the manganese phosphate finish that the military has used for seemingly an eternity on the AR-15. I think it's a slicker, better finish. It should do you better than that. Mine was very, very reliable. That said, I didn't, get a bunch of blood in the action, a bunch of sand in the action. I didn't take it on deployment to a sandbox for a year, just in testing. It was very reliable and fairly accurate. And like $1,300 and some bucks MSRP. That's a fraction of the cost of a SCAR-17. It's direct impingement, but if you keep it clean, you know what it likes. It has an adjustable piston, but it has an adjustable gas system, which is kind of cool. You may or may not want to take advantage of that. But it's a decent gun, and I'm going to put it in the second place slot largely because of weight. It's a phenomenal gun. And weight's a big deal. If you don't think it is, you're probably not doing operator stuff like an operator operationally. Because if you do, you'll be looking at a bunch of rifles and be like, man, this might be a 13-hour ruck operation. That pound and a half, that's really going to help. I'd rather have this rifle in my hands than get stuck with my pants down because the other rifle's on a sling because it's too heavy. So weight matters. Weight's a big, big criteria when you're looking at stuff on a page. Don't just look at a bunch of other stuff. The weight is important. And if you actually do stuff, go on patrols, you get stuck on a perimeter and you actually have to hold the gun up for 12 hours of sheer boredom for maybe a few seconds of excitement, that weight's going to matter. That weight is important. That weight is why I put this gun in the second place slot. Now, it's a newer gun by Ruger. It's been out a few years, so it, I think, makes that 3-year rule I talk about. Don't get something when it's brand new. Wait till it's proven. You don't want to be a beta tester in a gunfight. It meets that, but it's not a military arm. It wasn't designed to be. Nobody's going to be arming their frontline infantry troops with a Ruger SFAR anytime soon. It's not blooded. It's not as proven, but it's a decent AR-10 type platform and a great value and a great weight. Now, in third place, the military's new rifle. Some of you may put it in the first place. That's fine. You may know it as the M7. You may have known it as the M5. I think they got some kind of litigious thing with Colt because they already had an M5. Now it's the M7. But the military's new battle rifle. Military, I mean the U.S. military. The world's military. They make a civilian version. It's the MCX Spear. I'm semi-familiar with the operating system of this, although I've never had the M7. I got out in, when did I my last DD214, 2019. I was never issued one of these in the field. Familiar with their civilian versions thereof. Familiar with an AR-18 kind of rifle. It's got dual springs, dual piston kind of system, dual springs. Doesn't have the buffer tube system you may be familiar with in something like an AR-15 or the Ruger SFAR we talked about. So like the SCAR-17, you can have a folding stock. Short stroke gas piston. It's got the modern M-LOK system. Now I'm looking at their 308 MCX Spear, cold hammer forged steel barrel. Doesn't say chrome lined, perhaps it's nitrided as well. Now I'm looking at their model here, the MCX Spear. It's 13 inches, which means if you want it, you're probably going to have to go the SBR route. But if you're going to spend the kind of coin that this costs, that's probably not a no-go for you if you're willing to go this route. This is the high-tech, high-speed, new battle rifle. This model at least is going to be an SBR. Here's why I put it in third. Even naked, without a bunch of stuff on it, it's 9.2 pounds. I was an infantryman primary in the Marine Corps, infantry primary in the Army, and I've done a bunch of other stuff. That's a heavy gun, and that's naked. That's without anything on it. That's without a white light on it. That's without an optic on it. And I'm not one for throwing a bunch of Mall Ninja stuff on a rifle, but a white light and a good optic and a sling, that's going to be a fat girl. I'm not sure I want to tangle with that. That's only a 13-inch barrel. Now, if you're looking at this gun and you want the latest and greatest, the same thing the military is going to have, you're probably looking at it in the 277 Fury or the 6.8 by 51. That may ring a bell. The 308 is 7.62 by 51. This is necked down to the old 270 caliber. And if you go this route, there is the option to go with the Peak alloy cases. It's a bi-metal case, meaning like the bottom of it is steel because that's where a lot of the pressure problems are, and the top part is copper. This allows them to load up safely to 80,000 PSI. Now, historically, a high number for something like a 270 is 65,000 PSI. This is 80,000 PSI. But they've worked out a way from all reports to get it to work reliably in a rifle, a semi-auto rifle, even a machine gun. So the 80,000 PSI, not a big issue if you want the extra performance. And what that does is allow you to get decent performance out of a shorter barrel, hence the 13-inch barrel. This is not the episode to, I think I've probably already done one, hashing out the difference between a 308 or a 227 Fury or 6.8 by 51 NATO. There's a little bit of difference there for the average person until it becomes far more available and affordable. You're probably logically better off with a 308 at this point in time. But as the military continues to adopt it, if they do and it becomes mass adopted, like many other things the military mass adopts, like the 308, it will become affordable in the future. It's still got that same weight with that short barrel, though. It's still got a 9.2 pound weight naked. So that's why I put it in the third slot. But if you want the latest and greatest, you want like as close to what the military has while being semi-auto, this is going to be it. You're going to pay for it. If you can even get one, find them in stock, they are going to be very expensive. You might be looking at the SCAR as the bargain option. They are expensive. It's got a good operating system, though. Like I said, I'm not familiar with its exact model, but I'm familiar with that operating system, and I'm familiar with it in the SIG, like an MCX Rattler. It's a good proven design as far as the main functioning portion of the firearm goes. And by all reports, it's a decent rifle. If you want the latest and greatest, it deserves to be on there for the world's best battle rifles at this point in time. Now, the last one, the Galil Ace. You might be thinking, well, that's a 7.62x39 or a 5.56. That's an assault weapon, an assault style weapon, or a modern sporting rifle. If you stop trying to appease the left by being politically correct, you're not going to be appeased. The anti-gunners are not going to be okay with the gun because you call it a modern sporting rifle. Stop with the newspeak and the Orwellian bad think stuff. Just call it what it is. Anyway, yes, they do make those, and those are good guns too, and I've had one of those in 7.62x39, but they also make one in 308. Now, they make a few different models. They make a couple of short-barreled ones, either pistols, 99% in SBR, or they make a legit SBR. But I'm going to talk about the main size, the fighting rifle size. 7.62x51 NATO. If you like AKs, if you like the legit operating system of an AK, this is that. The Galil Ace, if you're not familiar, is a modern version of an AK. Probably the best version of an AK I think you can buy on the modern market. This is a bigger version of that because it's 7.62x51. They've made these for a long time. They work fine. You're not going to beat up the gun too much in 308. It can handle the 308. It's a long stroke piston like the AK. These I find a little bit more ergonomic, and if you're used to like an AR-15 style safety, it's got both the AK and the AR style safety. Got a better weight to mount optics and accessories than most AKs do. It's made by IWI Galil. It's a well-made weapon. I believe it has a chrome hammer-forged barrel, cold hammer-forged chrome-lined barrel. It's made for legit use. It's not made to be some Sunday barbecue gun. It's made for hardcore use. The weight, and I remember, and one of the reasons I don't have a Galil anymore is they're heavy, but the weight on this is 8.7 pounds, and I looked at several websites. For some reason, the main website didn't have the weight on here. But this one says, if this is correct, this is not their website. It's where I could find it to give credit where it's due. It's gunbuyer.com. But it lists the weight as 8.7 pounds. It's still a little bit lighter than the MCX Spear, believe it or not. If you want AK reliability, this is an AK. But it's not in an intermediate caliber, the 7.62x39, which is a decent intermediate caliber. This is a full-powered rifle round. The 308 is not just a little bit better than 7.62x39. It's a whole different class. It's a full-powered rifle round. So I'm going to put the Galil Ace on the list. It's middle of the road for price, too. It's quite a bit cheaper than the MCX Spear and quite a bit cheaper than the SCAR 17. However, it's going to be more than the Ruger SFAR, and it's going to weigh more. But if you want that piston system, it's a decent compromise in rugged reliability and affordability. It's a good weapon, and it doesn't look like an AK. And I like AKs. I carried one in the Middle East for a time. I get it. I get why people like them. But in America, whether it's right or wrong, people see that as the bad guy gun. And it's likely to get you shot, even if you're the good guy. Because we, the collective we, the American culture, deems it as the bad guy gun. Now, that's ridiculous because guns are neither good nor evil, but that's just the way that it is. And I'd like a gun that doesn't get me shot for being a good guy. The Galil does not look like an AK-47, especially the Galil in 7.62x51 NATO. It just doesn't. Unless you exactly know what it is, almost nobody would say that's an AK. Whereas some of the other 308 AK clones just look like a big AK, which again, maybe not great for perception-wise, whether it's right or wrong. I'm trying to not get you shot by a good guy, by friendly fire. Anyway, the Galil doesn't look like an AK. It's a fine weapon. They're good AK variants, probably the best ones you can get on the market today. I'm going to go out and say that unless you go with something like high-end custom. They're a good gun. So that rounds out my list. The SCAR 17, the SCAR Heavy, the Ruger SFAR, the MCX Spear / M7-ish rifle, and the Galil Ace 7.62x39. With that, guys, hope you appreciate this. I didn't get this outlined and written up by AI. You want small businesses, sample size 1, veteran-owned American owned, operated. No dolphins were harmed in the making of this episode. There weren't even any tuna harmed in the making of this episode. I can't remember the last time I had tuna. But anyway, guys, I'm just working full-time as a private security contractor, still trying to get you guys content. If you like this episode, it's because last time I checked, it was winning in the poll on Patreon. If you want to support the podcast, go to Patreon. If you don't want to support financially and you want to say in the content, just go to Patreon. I can't say I remember all the time. Most of the stuff on there is for patrons, like as far as audio content and stuff like that. But a big chunk of the stuff on there is just free. Anybody can go there and look at it. There should be a link in the show notes. I try to remember to make the polls to vote for what you guys want because you're the listeners. I'm here to serve you guys, to give you what you want. So check out the Patreon page, even if you're not a paying member, if you want to vote in the polls. This was one of the polls. I try and pretty regularly put a list of episodes on there, and I have more ideas for episodes than I have time to record. So if you want to vote in something that matters and you want your voice heard on what content you want on this podcast, click the link in the show notes. Whether or not you want to become a paying patron. If you want to join, I'd love to have you. You shall not muzzle the ox while it treads out the grain, and a laborer is worthy of his wages. I have been crazy busy as of late. I appreciate you guys sticking around and dealing with all that's going on. If you want an update on the puppies, one I think is probably going to get sold this evening. That means 3 are going to be spoken for. 1 is left. Breeder of, in my opinion, world's best Rhodesian Ridgebacks, which means I have 1 left available. They may or may not be available when you listen to this, but they're great, adorable puppies. They're the cutest terrorists the world has ever seen. They're chewing on stuff right now as I'm recording, but the show must go on. By God's grace, punched my elk tag a week or 2 ago, over-the-counter tag, so blessed to have some meat in the freezer. And I got to be up early tomorrow, back with jungle boots, war belt, and body armor on in real life. Not playing a gunfighter on YouTube, but actually being one as a private security contractor. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all that you do. Your tactical verse of the day, Exodus 15, the Lord is a man of war. Have a blessed day.